Hey, welcome to the Saints City and Me, a podcast diving into how football fandom connects with the rich culture, history and charm of one of the world's most beloved cities. I'm your host, Dan, and alongside me is my co-host, Mike, and we're both passionate about New Orleans. So thank you for coming back. This is our second episode and our first episode with a guest on. We're delighted that a good friend of ours, Di, is joining us. You might know Di as ThaiHarley on Twitter. And if you're in our Discord, you'll know we affectionately refer to him as ThaiHarley. So how you doing, Di?
Yeah, good fellas. Thanks for having me on. Bit of a privilege. Much appreciated.
First guest, Di. First guest.
Let's get this rolling.
Well,
Absolutely, the most appropriate guest to have on as our first guest. I've been following Di for several years on Twitter, and I think we've been lucky to
definitely.
Lucky to get to know each other a bit.
Number one Saints fan in Wales.
Number one Saints fan in Wales. Number 6 Man United fan in Wales. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's quite a few of them, mate, to be fair to him. So I'll probably drop down to 26 in time, but Eric's dragging me back up because he actually looks like a competent football manager, which is funny because the Saints used to be the competent coach team, and I was flipped. But
bit of a seesaw.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've been lucky enough to get to know Di pretty well through the Saints Twitter podcast Discord, and we've been to games with him and enjoyed that. So a bit of background there. Mike, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm yet again, I think, excited and nervous. It's a bit different when you, even though it's a mate, when you've got a third person in and you've got to ask questions. So let's fly into it and see where we go. I think we've said before we're not a deep dive Saints pod, but to be fair, we probably got the most knowledgeable Saints fan that I know actually on today.
Mate.
Hey, I'm not buttering you up, mate. You absolutely are. Sometimes in the Discord, my head spins with the amount of knowledge that you have, not just on the Saints, but the actual game itself. I think first, there isn't much news, but Foster, Maru joining. Are we happy with that?
Oh, absolutely, mate. Yeah. Go on, Dan. I mean, for me, he's the perfect blocking tight end too. You've got Juwan to run your seams and everything and be your flex guy, but he's a good blocker. He got it chemistry with Derek. It's a reasonable deal. With Kai's done his usual 1.8 million cap hit this year with the voids. I mean, you can't.
And it's a 3-year, 12 million, eight guaranteed, isn't it? But yeah,
it's nothing, man. And tight ends develop so gradually and such different stages, like throughout their careers. He can only go up. It's a no-brainer. It's a tight end too. You like to think between the two of them, you got a bit more flexibility. We're talking too much.
No. But
I think Pete can go back to. I know there's no originality to Pete, but I also think he coached one hand tied behind his back, maybe from DA, maybe from his lack of confidence, from Andy not being that guy and having the same responsibility and wanted to do it. Yeah, I've definitely got a talent now. I mean, there's no way this wide receiver, for me, receiving options, this is up there with 2011.
Yeah,
I think just from depth wise, from one to, and I include the running backs. Jamal can catch passes. Kendra thinks he can catch passes. We know what AK can do. You've got a whole width now with receiving options. And if we get Hunter Renfro, I'm going to be really indignant. So, I can't wait.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing I suppose about is the human story as well. The fact that coming in for the medical, man, finding that out. But, there was a sense of confusion, wasn't there, when he did sign and we realised that he was probably going to be he would definitely be at camp and, it looked like he was likely to play, but it's a fantastic story. It's also,
crazy.
A tribute to modern medicine as well, isn't it? The fact that.
I think we felt a bit sticky about it because we wasn't sure what condition he was in, but I think that Adam Schefter interview cleared a lot of that up and got people a bit more comfortable with how he was health-wise. So
that was
story.
Yeah,
a local boy as well. Yeah. Love that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it keeps the LSU contingent a little bit muted.
Yeah,
because
it'll be.
still want Patrick
We'll
Queen.
dive back into the argument of Saints fans and LSU fans, and LSU fans wearing their LSU tops at the Dome, which I know a lot of people don't like. We had a lot of that last year, didn't we? When the two boys came in, and there was a bit of a fallout on Twitter about that. But hey, look, the bottom line is we've got a talented tight end in the building, and that's what matters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
I mean, you were talking about the depth there. Obviously, James Washington's come in. Does this finally mean, boys, that that glass hipped is going to be gone?
Please, for the love of baby Jesus, for the good of my unborn child, please get Traquan Smith off my fucking team, please.
Yeah.
And out of our faces. I just can't do it. I can't do it anymore. There's no excuses now.
No,
none.
I think we touched on it last week, didn't we, Dan? It was literally, it would be remarkable to see what his game by game record is and how many games he actually finishes, because it felt like every time you watched, every week you watched, he was coming off, and it's just infuriating, absolutely infuriating.
Do you know what I've always found frustrating with Traquan? He would, more often than not, he'd have a big play and then get injured, and you thought he's just, maybe this is the game, and then he'd take a bang, you're like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, I mean, joking aside, I think it was half the problem with Troutman. Like, when you finally looked like he was maybe putting a string to get like a decent game together, got injured. To quote our former head coach who left us, availability is a skill. So, Traquan hasn't got it. I mean, if he's on the team this year, it's because, heaven forbid, it's because he's earned it, and I can't see him doing it. I could be proven wrong, but there's enough bodies and talent there now that I just can't. I can't see it. There's cap savings. There's a reasonable amount of cap savings to actually cut him or trade him. Sean wants to join the 2020 Saints receiving options. And Chuck was the 7th rounder. Please, I'll start the car, pack his bags.
Exactly. You can have him.
There's no. Yeah, it's the talent. I mean, he's, without going too much, he's an okay player. He's not been a terrible player, but there's certainly better options for us now. So let's get him out of there.
In addition to his blocking skills, obviously, he could be a deep threat, but we've got more of that now that's come in. So there's no reason to just have him hang around.
Exactly, mate.
Maybe look at him as a camp body and just see, but. Brings us on to, obviously, the other thing that's been going on at the moment is rookie camps. Obviously, you have to take it with a pinch of salt, because a lot of the time these rookies are going up against Amazon drivers and things like that. But it sounds quite positive. Stuff we're hearing from like Underhill and Jackson, they seem quite happy with what they're seeing from the rookies.
Yeah, I mean, again, taking the type of players they drafted this year, I don't think you can really fault. I mean, if they don't work out, they don't work out. That's part of drafting. It's something in act science, but they're drafting athletic dudes who love football, and that's all you can ask for. Taking Peyton Turner out of it. So there's none of that. It's like Foskey's a dude who loves football. Works out. There's videos of him working off. I think there was an Evan Donald video from a few years ago. He's asking him questions. There's those type of things. And granted, it can be used to make that player look good, but it's out there. The information's out there. Because he's obviously had a terrible time last season, but he looks like he loves football. People rave about his work ethic, athletic, in a position of need. A.T. Perry's got a chip on his shoulder. I mean, there's a lot of talk that name escapes me. The DB that we got, Powney, looks one of those versatile type of Dennis Allen.
Jordan Howden.
Yeah. He's supposed to be one of those versatile type of slot nickel guys that they like, and whatever you get from Jake Hayner's bonus.
Yeah. That's one of the things that I think Ross Jackson touched on about Howden is the amount of reps he's had at college. So he's experienced and he knows his positions and stuff like that. So he said, like, the Saints like like that kind of experience with a player. And I think, Mike, you touched on it perfectly last week when you said the attitude of all these players as well that are coming in. They've drafted characters who've got the right attitude, who want to come in and, you know, be successful. Whereas in the past, maybe you look at someone like Peyton Turner, and he's obviously athletic, but the attitude appears to be not the same as some of these guys. And when you're playing off of someone like Cam Jordan every week, that really shows up if you're not bringing that.
Yeah, 100%, mate.
Yeah, I think probably best to sort of move on a little bit, because it's called The Saints, the City, and Me, and so I suppose the whole idea is to understand why people who are not Louisiana born support the team. We obviously, being from the UK, we know that there are hundreds upon hundreds of Saints fans in this country. We know there are plenty in Europe and worldwide. So the first question, I suppose, Di, is, was it the Saints or was it the City? What was the first thing that drew you in?
Saints for me, mate. So I was working. I've prepped my answer for it. I got it locked in. I was just double checking the dates as well, because I can remember. So I was working away in construction, and I had a bit of a drink. I was at the start of the project. So the site team wasn't that big, and one of the lads then got transferred and left and went to another job. So I was kind of like on my own, digging down, because I was only 20. So I was like, right, when birthday kicked in, at the time, just got a cheap PlayStation 2 because I was in my room. Madden 05 was there because the next Madden was due to come out. So happy days. Yeah, nice and cheap. Like, just give me something to do in the evenings when I wasn't digging down there. So flipping for your team. So first off, we got the Fleur de Lis, which is linked to the Welsh rugby team. Black uniforms, pretty good. Can't fault that. So that was like, I'll pick them. Which also means that I will not take any Alan Brooks slander, because that man is a genius. Especially on Madden. However, I look back at how I used to play Madden back then, and I realised what a cheesy bastard I was. But that's a story for a different day.
And you don't like cheesy bastards on Madden? I know that.
No, mate. It's just a sore point. I'm not coming back for a good 2 years. So
that's a sore point. We don't need to go down that route.
No.
You got number one draft pick. You can't complain.
But and then because of the timing of me getting it, so I used to be a little bit in the NFL, so it was there, so I started getting into the game a bit, doing a bit of a deep dive, and unfortunately it was 2005, so just before Katrina's happened, and then there's the double affliction of, what's the gap, 10 months between the Tyson Army as well. So I then started feeling like, this is my team now. This is this is the team I want to support, the city and everything. So watch the whole, basically been like Sean Payton era, really. And lived it through there. And then finally went to the city for the Ravens game. So I think it was quite a while. So, but I just got more and more into the sport, and I started falling out of love with football, like our football.
I feel you.
That's a running theme throughout.
UK
NFL fans.
Just falling. I know it's easy to say, you support Man United just because it's just one of the same. It would it's just pumped down your throat. I mean, sometimes like for me, a bad football game is terrible to watch, but an NFL game has to be awful. Like awful for me not to watch it. Or like awful. I can watch an NFL game.
There's just so much going on, isn't there? There's so much going on, so much intrigue. There's so much to think about. If you're watching, for the sake of any US fans that watch it, if you're watching a bad soccer game, it's just bad.
Because it's
just
constantly
awful.
Bad. And one thing I was going to say as well, if you think about, we really that era of with soccer, whether you had Soccer Saturday and you had the people just sitting there talking to you about what was going on games, we really latched onto that and it became successful. But then when you find Red Zone, and you can actually see what's happening. It's like a game changer, I think, from a sports point of view. You're
Yes.
able to see live what's going on in all the games across the schedule that day, and I think that really can hook you in, because even if you haven't got a team, you're seeing touchdowns and big plays, bang, bang.
You're right there,
Yes.
because it was like my two sons who are sort of adult men now. So, but a few years ago, I remember before we moved and before I was able to get a space to watch it on my own, I used to watch it in the front room, and occasionally they would come in and Red Zone would be on, and they would sit there, and then, you know, not a game that they were interested in, but they would realize that 4 hours later they were still sitting there and they were still watching it, because of that show. It just leaps around the whole game, showing just sheer feats of athleticism and just skill and power. So every 45 seconds, you're dragged into another example of just real athletic power. And, you know, they used to do it all the time. It's not a game they're interested in, but they would actually be transfixed in Red Zone.
I'd say as well, if you think about big plays, like big splash plays that have made waves, like something like Odell Beckham making that catch, that's going to pull you in other fans, because they're going to see that and they're going to go, well, that's amazing. I want to see more of that. And I think as you get into the sport as a fan, you fall away from that and start watching your team's games. But because you understand the game, and when you're watching replays, it doesn't feel like you're sitting there for 4 hours, because you're taking everything in, you're understanding what they're talking about. I think that's a big difference.
You appreciate sport. I know exactly where I was when Odell Beckham made that catch, because it was my first US trip, and we just made the longest walk back from Marley Stadium, and finally got in a sports bar. And literally, I'm like, I know it sounds like I'm talking absolutely on my ass, but it was literally within 30 seconds of us sitting down at the table.
Wow,
absolutely bolt big. And Odell just does that. We were like, yeah, this is class. So that was my first. So my first two trips, obviously going back to the whole me in the city, I guess, is that when I was freshly single. So, and again, to kind of
go back to spill the beans, son. Spill the beans.
Yeah. So I joined a UK Madden League. We had a bit of a chat room, and to be fair, a lot like the Discord, I've got some lifelong friends now from that. We met a couple of times at the Wembley games, and you know, I went a couple of Twickenham games, and so it was like, you know, we become mates. I've been invited to the one lad's wedding, been to his stag do, went to my mate's, who's the Broncos fan. So freshly single, the first trip. So we were like boys, you know, anybody fancy a trip to America? Because one of the guys is always up for trips. Like, yeah. So we ticked off a bit of a lot of boxes. So went to Denver for the first weekend. They were playing Miami. Actually saw a decent Peyton Manning game before he was like non-noodle land. Flew down to New Orleans on the Monday for Monday Night Football against the Ravens. Saw one of the last Jimmy Graham touchdowns in the Dome, which I didn't realise until I was actually looking back at it. Then went to Dallas for Thanksgiving against the Eagles, and then watched the college game on a Saturday, and then spent the Sunday in the sports bar.
Wow.
And done the whole big time NFL 11 o'clock.
That is for a first trip. That's a way to really
great trip.
Great way to
it. Yeah. Went balls deep on it. So
I'm assuming that being that you were newly and freshly single and you were hitting New Orleans, you were obviously, and you would have been of an age where Bourbon Street was just like it was halcyon days. We spoke about it last week, where I spoke about, and I didn't go there until I was in my 40s. And even though, you know, I think you all know I quite like a drink at a good time. Even for me, I was a little bit, oh my God, I can't imagine going there when you're in your 20s.
It was, though bizarrely, the first time, it was because it was more like such a whirlwind trip. So we flew down on a Monday, checked our bags in. It was Monday night, so we just went out I had a couple early before the game. Obviously, the game itself is nuts, isn't it? I know you've been there. It's like, and that's the one thing I appreciate by going to other stadiums. The Dome is, don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's like, I think it's going to be the likes of Tennessee, the likes of Seattle, where the stadiums inside the city centre. Like I said, Denver is miles away. It's just ages away, so you don't get that same buzz from leaving the ground. Dallas Stadium is in the middle of fucking nowhere. And but you literally walk in, you walk along, all this music's going on, some guys saying that. We always joke about me and my mate, he's like selling the t-shirt, she loves the D. That type of thing you just don't get that in any other stadium I've been to, man. So
no,
just like, and then we went, obviously we had the quarter, but one of the boys was feeling a bit like rough, and he said he just saw 3 of us. There was 4 of us who went. My mate's a Broncos fan. Mike, my other mate Mike is a Ravens fan. He was a smug little fucker as well because they beat us. And Simon, and so yeah, which is a bit of a fucking running joke because we always seem to lose against them by that missed kick. But so he just said he just looks at us, 3 of us, and we got hand grenades. And like, these are nice. These are nice, and these are nice. And then I can vaguely remember being where I was, and I literally woke up in the morning, and I was just like, never been so glad to have another man in a bed over there, because I was just like, how did I get home? So didn't really, the next day I didn't really get a chance to see the city as much as I wanted to, but obviously it's just. But
the experience of getting into the dome, it's a magical thing, isn't it? The first time you go, just magical.
It's mental. I remember obviously again, but at that point, I've been a fan now for over 10 years. Well over 10 years. My favorite sports team. Just taking. And obviously, you go past the dome when you get your taxi from MSY and you head in. It's goosebumps type of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic, man. Just loved it. Then went back for again. So then I go back 4 years later, which is a bit of a running joke with the boys. So all my relationships only seem to last 4 years. So then I went for the Mike Thomas
Saints bookends. We'll have to get you some, mate.
So I was there for the Mike Thomas phone game. Again, I did another multi-city trip to New York, to New Orleans, and then went back up to Washington. So with one of the boys went with before. But I remember watching that Mike Thomas phone game, and I was out of my mind, like just so hyped. And you could not have told me that we weren't hosting that. And when you were talking last week in your last episode, Mike, about the pain, because I booked my flights when I got home.
Well, this was a
question
we need to touch on that, because obviously it's really weird that at that time none of us knew each other, but we were all there. But how early on did you decide you were going to that game? Even though it wasn't there to be played.
After the Rams game, come home that weekend, told my old man. Because my old man does be thinking, single, I was like, I said, yeah, it's class and everything. I said, I'm going back in January. What? I said, yeah, roasting the NFC Championship game. He's like, hi. He's like, well, do you want after your birthday? Do you want after Christmas then? I was like, yeah, fucking absolutely. So, but the flights, but the hotel, and then his mate's son-in-law come as well. So, I had a buddy to go with, but I was just like, I'm booked in, and obviously then because for me, if you were thinking back, they had that game in hand on us, but because we beat them, we then had the tiebreaker. So it's just like, we ain't fucking, and so I knew they had to play the Chiefs. So I was keen as mustard, mate. But when we were down to those Eagles, oh my God, I was spewing.
So I said that Karen's trip for you, Mike, was ballsy, but I think Di's double ballsed. On this one. This is real belief in the team.
Yeah, and as we were saying last week, I would have went to the City anyway, because before I was a Saints fan, I was a fan of the City and wanted to go. So I wouldn't have been completely and utterly devastated not having I would, because we wouldn't have been in that bloody game, so I would have been devastated. But I would have still enjoyed it. But yeah, that's ballsy. That's really ballsy to that far out. How long did you spend in the City then when you were there for the NFC game?
So the NFC Championship game, I was there, and that's probably the longest weekend I've had there as well. So I was there for 4 nights.
Oh, okay.
No, 5 nights. Sorry, tell a lie, 5 nights. So,
All right. So you probably got
really
to sample a little bit more
really
of
done
it.
a
Yeah.
lot more. Yeah, done a lot more. The time before as well, I'd done more touristy stuff because obviously they said it was a whirlwind the first time. Like, loved it, but I was just like, done the food. I was ticking off certain things. However, now I know more people because of the SEO, the STP. I'm like, there's fucking loads of places you've not been to, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just the best. I say this to like, and I've been to, like, I've done Vegas for a stag do, and it was one of the best stag do's I've ever been on. But I tell people, obviously now, when you get older, you drink differently. You don't want to be in a club. I said, if you want a day session and you just want to drink and have a good time, listen to music, nobody showing off, it's the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
No one gives a shit what you've got on your wrist or on your shoes or whatever. I say no one gives a shit what's on your feet.
Yeah.
Some people are interested in the feet.
Yeah. For different reasons.
Yeah, but it is. I say to people, when people say to me, "Who should I want an NFL team. What team should I support?" Dan, you know NFL. Tell me what team you should support. And I say to people, pick a place where you want to go and you want to keep going.
Yes.
And if they've got a team, that's your team. Because you'll never get tired of going. Even when the team's shit, you'll still enjoy going because you love the place you're going to. So, if you love New York, be a Giants fan or a Jets fan. If you, my friend Tom, he's a Patriots fan. He loves going to Boston. Good for you. Like,
Yeah,
you love
man,
that city,
definitely.
go
Chicago,
Yeah.
it is, whatever. Like,
maybe not so much
nobody
San
wants to be
Francisco
Green
because
Bay,
it's a
though, do
fucking
they?
miles away from the stadium, but
Yeah, exactly, man. It's nuts. I mean, I think the one thing one of my favorites say, well, I say this to people, so the best way I describe a Superdome to somebody is if you've been to the Welsh rugby game and you just pump it full of steroids.
Yeah.
That's what a game of the dome's like. You get smashed in St. Mary Street, Queen Street, go to the game, get pissed, sing songs, fireworks, come back out, get steaming, but on just a whole another level. And obviously the food is just something else, man.
oh,
food is something else.
Yeah. What's your go-to dish from the city? What is your preference?
I had the char grilled oysters the first time I went, and that's just blown my mind. We actually stayed in the Hilton the first time, so I went to the deep dark place of Saints Report Forum back then, and I was like, where's a good place to go? And you're like, where are you staying? And you're like, well, I should go for Drago's for the oysters. So tell the boys, but this is the day after the game, so we're a little bit tender. I don't know if we're gonna do this, and then we're like, she said, do you want oysters to start? And I already told my mate, and he's like, we're gonna have to try them, so we'll have 6 each, and just as a starter, and then we'll get them. And I'm just eating them and thinking, why didn't I order 12?
Yeah. They're immaculate, aren't they? I think me and Dan have probably spoken about that. That's possibly my go-to dish. I mean, I love all the food, but if I need to, that's probably one of the ones that I'll go for. I just absolutely adore them.
I can't do the raw ones. I've tried. I can't. But the char grilled ones
and that's
with the garlic, amazing. And I've had the deep fried ones in a cochon de lait po' boy, amazing, really good.
Nice. Yeah. So like, I've had them. The first time I actually had oysters was in the city. Was that day, and then I went to some really poncy restaurant in Cornwall that done like raw oysters, and I was just like, no.
It's not a place you went to, Dan, is it?
No, well, no, not there. But I did a similar thing when we was up in Canada on a family holiday in Banff, and there was a Cajun restaurant there. And they had, I said, we'll go there, we'll have some food. And I said, I'm going to have the oysters because I had oysters in New Orleans. They were amazing. I bite into this oyster and there's like this green sludge in the middle. And I went, no, thank you. Whilst my mother-in-law who's eating frog's legs, and she goes, they're a bit crunchy. And I said, no, you eat them like chicken wings. You don't eat she's eating the fucking bone and everything.
Caved a lot, man.
Yeah, she don't fuck about. She'd love New Orleans. She'd eat everything. She would.
Yeah.
I just can't wait to go back.
What were the other stuff that you did when you were over there? You sort of said you did the more.
So I've done the
touristy
world,
stuff.
done the World War II museum, done a lot more like walking around the garden district and stuff. The World War II museum is pretty fascinating for a couple of. I know we like kind of touched this on yesterday, and it went a bit dark. But so you sit there. Have you done it? Have you done it yet?
No,
I haven't.
In all the times I've been over, I've not yet done it.
It's pretty good, man. It's really like so. From like the point I'd say for us is that like watching a couple of shows and stuff. We didn't really know a lot in school, did we, about what happened in the Pacific?
No.
So there's a lot of the stuff that was happening with the Japanese and stuff. You're like, oh fucking hell. So like it's not like a competition. Be like, oh fucking hell, there was a lot going on there. But you sit down as like in this big theater, and it's a bit of a live video of like, and then it's like casualties lost in World War II, and then like America, and it's like a few thousand. I'm underplaying it, but like say 56,000, whatever. Then it's like, Great Britain, 150. Germany. Then the Russian them comes up. They're like, oh. And me and my mate like, well, yes, you did join in rather late, didn't you? Do you know what I mean? It was kicking off. It was kicking off quite a lot. So it's like them not understanding what happened, and obviously it does tell you a lot about obviously what was happening in Europe. But it's very interesting the fact that you see more from the American and the Japanese side of the conflict. So I enjoyed it. There was a lovely little pizza place around the corner, which is very typical.
Oh, I see the pizza place on the corner. We walked past that.
Yeah.
Just
we walked
on
past.
the
Just a little. Doesn't look all that great. Went in there, had a really nice pizza for $9. Happy days. Thank you very much.
I was going to say,
let's keep going.
The most random, my first trip to New Orleans, the most thing I found most random was we was walking. I think it was like coming out of Riverside Walk and up, and there's a statue of Winston Churchill there. And obviously, we didn't know the World War II museum was there. It was like, what the fuck is there a statue of Winston Churchill here for? What did he do for New Orleans?
Yeah.
But to me, it was completely random. It was like, what the. This is bizarre. One of the things you mentioned when you talked about going up to the dome, and you've got those guys selling those T-shirts with she loves the D and all stuff like that. Yeah. And it's one of the things I love about the city is the opportunism of the city. Me and Michael talked about it before. Yeah. You got people selling stuff like that, and they're just taking that opportunity to just do something and make a bit of money. And I love it. I really love it.
Yeah, man. The music, the art. People, some of the actual art people are selling on the streets and stuff is, it's just a special place, man. It's just a vibe to it. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's other places, especially down the south, and I've been to some nice cities and stuff. But I just love just the whole vibe of it. You can just dive into, like you said, a little random. It was pissing down with rain, and me and Tom were just like, it's Tim's like Tim, me and Tim, he's gonna shoot me now. Me and Tim, and he's hammering down with rain. We were like, we'll have a quiet one today because game's tomorrow. So we just have a little walk on Saturday. Starts hammering down with rain. I mean, apocalyptic southern rain. We're like, no. Dive into a little. It's a little Irish bar. Dive into it. So sit down. To get us here. Lovely. We'll have a bloody maybe. Spent 4 hours in there just because it was a Saturday morning. They had the football on as well. So we're like, had lunch in there. And we were just having a crack with the locals. Obviously, the whole thing like, why Brits here? Because
but that is the beauty. It's the beauty and the danger, because I think you sort of touched on it there. Let's dive in here, get out of the rain, have a quiet one. I don't. In all the bars that I've been in the city. You don't dive in anywhere and have a quiet one, even if it's a quiet bar, because that gives people the opportunity to maybe hear your voice, realize you're not from the country, and then they're straight on you, but on you in a great way, like really interested, really want to know everything. It happens to me all the time. We've all been over there, and you're in there, and suddenly 4.5 hours is gone because you've sat next to a couple of guys or something, and you just realize that you're half cut. You're not where you're meant to be. So actually, this is now my day.
Yeah. We had wasn't the rain, but even like we talk about having a quiet day. When I went the first time, our day was flying home. It's like, right, we're flying home today. Got to have a quiet day. Don't do anything stupid. We walk, pick up some tourist knickknacks for the kids, some beads and stuff. And I'm like, can I just go in Jean Lafitte's? I want to have one of those daiquiris again. I would like that voodoo daiquiri. Drink that. We walk in down Bourbon, and then we see these guys with the spirits on Bourbon where they've got the skull and it lights up blue and it's got the chili on top. It's like, where'd you get them? They was like, we're just in there, and they got obviously the dentist chair and that in there. So, well, let's try one of them. 2 hours later, we're in a dive bar around the back of our hotel, absolutely shit faced, waiting for our cab to go home because it's just like, that's it. It's like New Orleans hooks you. It's like, nope, got you.
Mate, sucks you in so bad, man.
And I've got videos of us singing "I Want to Dance with Somebody" in the cab with some randoms from New Jersey who we shared a cab with, and then videos of us doing chopper style dance through the airport while we're waiting to get on the plane. And you're thinking, how the fuck did we get on that plane? Passed out on the plane and woke up at Heathrow. So it was like great flight home. But New Orleans, when it gets you, it gets you.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, because we went then from that Irish bar to get up the rings. We just originally going to just go back to the room, just stayed out. But just went down through and but it was the first time I'd ever actually really drunk there on a weekend day.
Yeah.
So everywhere was 2 for 1. And then you go in for one bar and someone's like this unbelievable group of women and they're singing like R&B and soul music. You walk into another bar and some man's he's playing jazz. You go somewhere. It's just the vibe of the city, man. It's just but then I also went to I said I can have 2 Blue Moons and you pop 6 in front of me. It's like it's happy hour.
Yeah.
I'm fucking happy now.
I was like, well, how long's happy hour then? She went, 2 till 5. I was like, that's a long hour. But
it's a New Orleans hour.
Exactly, mate. And it was $9. I was cackling. I was like, surely that's not right. She said, oh yeah, it's 3 for 1. All right, yeah, cool. Tim, 3 for 1. You'll stay. Yeah.
I'd say it's one of the cheapest places I've got drunk in my life, even when it's not happy hour. So I remember going into bar and go, can we get free? I don't know, maybe the first drink we was like 3 Southern Comforts and lemonades or 3 Hurricanes. And the guy's like, yeah, it's like $12 or something stupid or $15. And just obviously this is pre-COVID, but just like, I'm going to get absolutely wankered here every day.
In comparison to other cities, obviously you two have been to New York, that's just a different animal. Washington, Jesus. That was like you talking best part of $20 just for a beer and a half type of cup. You know what I mean? It's just different. And, obviously I've going into wealth disproportion and proportion and everything like that, but yeah, it's
I've made jokes about it.
I said to people,
obviously
if you want to get this,
the prices, New
mate,
Orleans is the place to go.
It's mad. If you want a proper Mikey Raya all day session, with a few of us, it's my 40th next year, so it was a bit of me and a couple of boys all on the same age, so we're kind of maybe open to do the trip. And I was like, yeah, we'll just do. They're like, we'll do Vegas. So boys, like, we're not going to enjoy Vegas now. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're going to want to go, if we do go into a club, I'm going to have to have a table. I ain't fucking queuing. I ain't getting involved in the riff. And I'm doing what, $400 just to listen to some music I may or may not enjoy. When that's probably like 2 days worth of at least doing whatever I want in that city.
When's your 40th? I'll just clear my diary. I'll prep the wife now.
Yeah, so the problem I've got though is that the boss's 30th is this year, so it's like I kind of planned on me being on the trip this year, like definitely being on the STP meetup. I was like, because we're gonna. She was like, yeah, great idea, but child. So, and because in my 40th, we might do a bit of a joint.
You say the child wasn't your fault.
Well, I didn't.
Gotta die. Take some responsibility, son.
I'm taking responsibility. I just didn't think I was going to be prolific as I was. So I had a bit more time, to be honest. But here we are. Child's due in a couple of weeks, so hence why I'm drinking water, just in case she.
I did note that. I remember those days of like a month before, like, right, you can't drink no more.
I've got the go bags lined up. Even plug the bed
get them snacks in there, mate. Because on my first one, Nick was in labour for the best part of 2 days. I was just living on cereal bars.
Oh right, okay. I'll top
Gatorade, Red Bull, any of that. I know you don't like Red Bull, but any of that kind of shit works.
Yeah, well, needs must, mate.
in terms of the obvious one here, answer here is the Falcons. But in terms of which NFL team you dislike the most as a Saints fan, if we had to take the Falcons out of the equation, who would it be?
Right, I got two answers. So as just an NFL fan in the UK, it's the Patriots because
obvious reasons. Yeah,
loads of them, and then I got a very specific brand of Patriots fans who then become Tampa Bay fans, so they can fuck off as well. But if it's a fan base that I despise, it would be the
or
Niners.
Even a team, just a team.
Niners.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, when they have if it's not their local rival, if they have a fan base that they despise, a lot of the time it's because of the fans. I mean, mine would probably be the Cowboys, but I can't because they're a little bit like, I know you're a Man United fan, and I'm not a ABU, which is anyone but United in any way, shape, or form. But growing up, even for me, when they became really successful, people just hated them. But United fans actually had a reason to be gobby, whereas Cowboy fans certainly have no reason to be gobby, and they are still as gobby as hell. So I probably would say for me it'd be probably the Cowboys, but there are a multitude of teams that I dislike immensely.
As I say, I flip flop a little bit from time to time. So I probably would say into division it's the Panthers, and I've mentioned this to you before. I worked for a US bank, and I used to have to go out to Charlotte a couple of times a year. And there was all Panthers fans, and it was at that time. It was when Cam Newton was fucking good. And they were good, and they had Luke Kuechly. So when they beat us, I just get that ribbing on a Monday morning. And then the other side of it is a lot of employees had been relocated from Minnesota, so Vikings as well.
Fair.
Get on my tits, and I still don't like Stefan Diggs to this day, and it wasn't even his fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of grew a not appreciation, but when we went to Dallas for that Thanksgiving game, they all seemed really cool. So I've kind of and because we didn't, and because it wasn't in like the super, obviously we didn't go to super expensive tickets and everything. They just seemed all right, We all turned up being typical Brits. So because it was Thanksgiving, we had on all the ugly sweaters. But we had the ugly sweaters, our team. So you've got, and what makes our group a bit more. So Simon's quite posh. Mike has got some weird Nottingham accent going on. Hags is Belfast, and then there's obviously me being a Taff. So you got these four very weird accents to the Americans, all wearing Christmas jumpers in November.
They wouldn't have a clue where you're from, and you're all
I bet
talking. It'd be like, what the hell's going on here?
I bet it was. But it was like that Ted Lasso when he did the Tottenham clip. He's like, "How many countries are in this country?"
Yeah, it would literally be melting. It was melting heads. But like you said, you certainly get the attention, whether you want it or not. But even go to a stab, but because even stuff we say cheers, don't we? So, and they'd be like, "Oh, say that again." You're like, "Cheers." And then and Alex like, "Cheers," and they're like, "Oh,
yeah."
And he's like,
2 second celebrities.
I just like, can you? And if I say my name's Di, to be fair, I can't say my name's Di over here sometimes, so I have to say David in Starbucks because Di just melts.
You haven't got
heads.
a hope, have you?
No,
Star Wars said, what did you want me to do?
Yeah. Though to be fair, Dear spelled my name wrong in the card, but she did put sorry afterwards because she'd already written it. So it's good to know before the grandchild's here. But yeah, DAI, it's not that hard. It's not.
No.
Get it wrong. Yeah. But here we go.
Yeah. Right.
But
just a very quick one, because I think what we're going to do, we'll probably ask for you, because we're obviously off season. We're probably going to ask for your predictions for the Saints. So we're going to go through each game. You can give us your opinion on that, Di. But I think one of the questions that obviously we've been talking quite a lot, and I think if any Americans watch this, they'll just think Brits just drink all the time. I think I think I saw something on Twitter this week, which Brian put up. I don't know if you saw it, Dan, where there was this thing about whether or not the UK could outdrink the US. And I think you've had this debate, or you've seen him say this about people from New Orleans would just drink everyone under the table. But we've been obviously talking about that. But what Saints player, past or present, would you like to go to a British boozer and watch a absolutely fantastic game of soccer where you know what it's like when you go into a pub in the country and it's a cracking game, even if it's neutrals in the pub, and get absolutely trolley with a ex-Saints player? Who would it be?
Ex-Saints player
or current?
Current, I'd say AK. Yeah, I'd say AK. Like misdemeanor aside, it just seems like, again, the table.
But the thing about even if he was really lagging, he wouldn't fall over, would he? That balance is
so his balance, But I think if you're having a drink though, and you want you want a low line, I like, if you're on about getting lashed up, it's got to be Trevor Penning, isn't it?
I bet you can sink some Trevor Penning.
I bet he shotgunned a few beers in his time.
I bet Jeff can as well. Jeff Penning.
Yeah,
we got to find out if he's real or not.
It's it's all those videos you see when they were like NHL games and stuff, and they're like in the quarterbacks, and like, the O line's like 2-1. They bred O line's bred differently, man.
It's always who's the guy at the Packers? Always David. I'm going to murder his name. Yeah, and he's at the game and he just slams it down like no one's there, and then Aaron Rodgers is like, just have a little bit.
That's what I mean, mate.
I'm mixing my kabachi or whatever he drinks.
Yeah, O line, basically rugby boys.
Yeah, you're probably right there.
They are bred differently, and they probably do weird stuff. Well, probably not as weird as the rugby boys over here, but that's a separate pause.
I get
viewership about it.
Yeah, I get the feeling they do some weird stuff, but yeah, we probably don't really need to go into that either, do we? We certainly wouldn't want to talk about what the rugby players get up to over it.
No, mate, no.
I think people's toes would curl.
And Roger Goodell would just be dishing out suspensions like he's chucking out $5 bills at people.
Right after this, I was an unbelievable rugby boy story on the STP or in WhatsApp. But yeah, horrific.
Right.
Anyway, yeah.
Right, Di, you're up now. Predictions. So we have the Titans at home.
Win.
Right. We have the Panthers away.
Loss.
Really? We don't know what QB is going to be in there.
I just think this is one of those things where I think we finish 11-6. So I have to put losses, and I have to put losses somewhere. So
yeah. So you're going quite positive then, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I just think it's misplaced, but I just think the way look, like you said, potentially Bryce Young might be the best quarterback we play until our bye.
Yeah. It was more a case of would he actually start? It's like, would he start?
I think he's going to start. I think his first game in a stadium, night game, can see it some third and long. They needed to convert or to get into game winning field goal range. I've resigned myself to and then realizing this fucker is in our division for the next 10 years unless he gets broken in half because he's so small.
There you go. There's a rugby player coming out, broken in half. Right, Packers away.
Win.
Yeah, I've got to stand for a win
Bucks
there as well.
At home.
Win.
Patriots away.
Win. But we go on a run now of
Texans. Texans away.
Lose.
We got the Jags at home.
Lose. So what have I got now? 3-3. Yeah.
No, we're 4-3 at the moment.
4-3. Yeah. 4-3.
So Colts away.
Win.
All right. See, this is I'm deliberating because obviously a few of us going out for the Bears game, and I'm deliberating about the Colts or going to the Colts pre the Bear games. or going to the
Yeah.
Vikings afterwards. Going to the Vikings is so much easier, but I'm just, again, it's one of those things where I'll be away for like nearly 2 weeks. I think my wife will divorce me. It's just.
Yeah. I think from a tourist point of view, I'd have thought Minneapolis would be a nicer visit with the lakes and everything. Not that there's a lot going on. Not that I'd anything against.
Mall of America, biggest mall. Is that biggest mall in the world or biggest mall in?
It might be,
biggest
mate.
mall in
Yeah,
America?
like I think you'd have more if you're going to kill time.
Yeah. I'm still deliberating, but I'll have to make a decision too because everybody else is booking up now. Right. So the big game, the Bears at home.
No, we win now. There's no way we lose that game. No way we lose that game.
Vikings away.
I hate to say this, but I think we lose.
Okay.
Again, just some hanging, very Vikings way to beat us.
The Falcons away.
Win.
After a bye week.
Yeah, that's after the bye week. Yeah.
And
then we have a run of 3 games at home. So we got the Lions.
We beat the Lions.
Okay, the Panthers.
We lose to the Panthers.
And the Giants.
Yeah, but it's going to be peak. Like what we do to the Lions, because the Lions are still going to be at the time. They won't be as good as people think they're going to be, but they're still going to be like right up there, and it's going to be a little bit of an NFC, playoff ramifications.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird, isn't it? Because they're the amount of prime time games they've got. I think one of the opening games. It's weird how the whole of the media has piled on them. I mean, don't get me wrong, they looked exciting towards the back end of the season, but it seems like they've really piled on them. And it's almost like they want them to do well, not only, but probably for Campbell, because I think everyone sort of has a soft spot for him, not just Saints fans. But I think people just want them as a team and a city to have a little period of.
Yeah, I think I would say they're the hipster team now.
Yeah.
We've moved away from the Chiefs. Now they've had sustained period of success. Chiefs under Alex Smith were the hipster team for a while. Yeah. And now I think the hipster team is the Lions. It's cool to follow the Lions. Browns were in there a little bit when they started stacking on wide receivers, but it's fully the Lions is the hipster team now. And I like Dan Campbell and I like what they did in the draft. But I think you got a good point, though. They're a young team. They might not.
Yeah, I just think it'd be like this team always wins one game a year that they shouldn't win, and you don't think they're going to win.
Yeah,
it also loses at least one.
Yeah, they normally lose about 2 or 3. Where
that was that Giants game last year or the year before that we should have won.
That was that. Yeah,
so I got a feeling that you might get a proper rocking dome. I've had a bit of a run, but then to follow with because then we start getting a bit carried away. I think we could. If we run the table, if you look at the rest of our schedule, we might get the number 1 seed. We could catch Philly or San Francisco, and then we just lose to Carolina,
and we just shit the bed.
Yeah.
All right. So we lose to the Panthers. The Giants is a
win.
The Rams away. You know what to say because Adam will kill you if you don't.
An STP meet up.
Yeah, we'll win now. And what have I got us at now?
We are at 9 and 5, I believe.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Bucks away.
So what's the last 3 games? It's Bucks.
Oh wait, hold on. I might have
Bucks
counted
and Falcons.
Wrong. I think.
I think we lose this to stop them getting Caleb.
Yeah,
we take an L for the sake of the league.
It's 9 and 6, mate. So you got 2 games left. 9 and 6. Bucks
both.
away and Falcons at home.
No, we win them both, and we gift.
Okay.
We do not gift Tampa Caleb because the Rams suck enough.
Yeah. All right, so you're 11 and 6. I'm liking it.
I think the ceiling's 13 wins. I do think the ceiling's 13 wins, but even though I have the starting off fast, I think the key to this team this year, they can be below 5. I don't think they can be below 500 at any point. Well, I lose the first game, but I mean, if they're below 500 after week 2, it's going to be a struggle.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's like we know Carr is a decent above average QB, or he has been, and the couple of seasons where actually maybe the Raiders played to his real strengths, he actually looked pretty decent.
I mean, he's got weapons, man.
Yeah, he's got
Yeah.
weapons. He's got ability. He's got an arm. And I mean, again, it's almost like just try and start off fairly well. If we started off with your prediction, then you'd be really happy with that. I mean, to be 4-1 after 5 games we'd be happy with that.
I'd take 3-2 maybe.
Yeah.
I said, like, I think they need to beat.
I think the difference this time round is, I think DA is obviously conservative coach. We talked about it today about how defensive coordinators who become head coaches don't take the same risks as offensively minded head coaches, and we saw that last year. We saw it on 4th and 1 when he punted, and Sean would have gone for it, or Kyle Shanahan would go for it, or Sean McVay would go for it. But okay, all right.
Sean's been a bit of a pussy the last couple of years. Let's see. He has been a bit. He was a bit. He was a little bit. And again, I think is that faith? Is that because he doesn't trust the quarterbacks? I don't know. But I think Sean. He's not.
I was going to say. I think Derek Carr is the type of QB who will push to say, I think I can get this done. And I think also where maybe Andy Dalton would have, because there was that position last year where you never knew, is it Dalton? Is it going to be Winston? A lot of debate. Carr knows this is his offense now, and he can be ballsy, and he can say, do you know what? I don't like this play. I'm not going to go through with it. Whereas Dalton may have just gone with it. And I think, Carr's ability to make changes at line of scrimmage will help us in those situations.
Yeah, and the dot
that's
meetings,
my opinion.
Yeah, I think the dot meetings are coming back. Not that they didn't do them, but I think it was a Pete King article. Derek and Carr had mentioned that, talking about the dot meetings was a big part of it, and that type of thing. He's going to get full control. I think what will help this year at least is the flow of our offense to be better, because every now, like, we can have a good defense even if we allow for a bit for aggression. Without fucking getting too nerdy about it, like, I think the defense will slip a little bit with the talent. But then, what did we lose? Davenport didn't do a lot. Defensive tackles, they were bad.
On you,
bad. So as long as the guys you've got come in are just
above average,
just
slightly
average,
a nip above, average. Not being a disaster.
It's like we say, just be average, and the rest will follow through.
Yeah, man. But it's going to be a game where the defense will let us down. But we never had the. Well, I mean, we saw it towards the end of last season, man. Like, the defense playing well, we just couldn't score points. We lost the game.
Yeah,
they had 32 yards passing. With the actual, like, that's so, because our offense just couldn't get it going. So, like, I think don't get me wrong, it's going to be a drive where we call incompletion, then it's a run on second. It's going to be 3 and outs.
Yeah,
that's the nature of it. But I have a lot more confidence that how this team is set up, that we can actually, like, if it's 2nd and long, and Derek sees the fucking safeties cheating over, he's like, this is going to Olave 1-on-1.
I mean, it's also that thing, isn't it? It's like when we talk about, like, DA almost putting the handbrake on. Possibly part of the reason is DA putting the handbrake on Carmichael. I'm not saying that he was like Carmichael, some uber super talented offensive guru, but there is this thing where, because I think Carr has Allen's ear, like, he literally, I mean, that is it. He's got, so Allen trusts him. I think Carr has his ear, and obviously we heard about the meetings, and the whole point of sort of part of the reason why Carr joined it was because he was going to be able to make those calls at the line, sort of do some of it himself. And I think that might open it up for Carmichael. Carmichael then, might feel a little bit freer because of Carr.
So I've got a theory about Carmichael, and my theory is everyone talks really highly of him, and they call him a genius. And my theory about him is he's good at drawing up plays. I just don't think he knows when to execute them properly.
So implementation.
So he might have a playbook that's fantastic.
Yeah.
But I think having Carr there, like he did with Breeze and Peyton to a degree, just giving that guidance, go, no, do you know, this is this play here that we've practiced. This is the one that we're going to use, and just give him that confidence to execute correctly. I think that will be.
It's having the confidence because like they still always put in the 2 plays, but obviously Andy didn't have the confidence or whatever, or because he was just like, I just fuck it, you know, it's my job, whatever. I'm just
stop over,
do my
clock
bit,
in, clock
clock
out.
in, clock out. Whereas, like I said, Derek Carr is amazing in pre-snaps, one of the strongest parts of his game. He's going to look at it, he's like, they've loaded the box. Oh, I got 1-on-1 outside, you know, or shit, they're playing coverage, right, let's run it down their throats. You know, and having that confidence.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't want to like be dismissive of him, but he's going to have Jameis on the sideline, who is a fantastic teammate. Is going to be a great cheerleader for Carr, what he's doing in the game. And then if Jake Hayner's there as well, if he's dressed, he's someone who thinks the same way as him, even though he's a rookie. And by all accounts, his football knowledge is fantastic. So I think it's just going to help Carr and give him that confidence in the offense.
My bold statement is that we've got the best Q-back the Saints have had since 2018. Breeze injured his shoulder.
Okay.
Because Drew wasn't the same after he injured his shoulder. And
it's a weird one. I don't find that immensely ballsy, because when Jameis came to us, it was still a project, wasn't it? It was like we didn't get him in, and everyone was like, right, everything's settled now. It was almost like, well, we know he's got talent. He's got talent. All right, let's pull for him. And a majority, I think, of fans did. And look, hey, did he get the opportunity that he deserved? I personally don't think he did. But
agreed.
But I'm with you. We've seen enough of Carr, especially, you know, obviously you had the Gruden period, but even outside of those, he still performed at a decent level in not the best circumstances. I'm confident, and also he's come in the building and he said every fucking thing that should be said in the right way. You know, all his media has been great. All the bits of PR he's done. You know, obviously we got a couple of friends on the Discord who are getting a bit wobbly about his picture and stuff. You know,
I got wobbly about his picture. He looked.
Well, you get more
turn a man.
I thought about it, not for long.
His picture,
but I did think. I did think about it.
I was going to say 2 things. One thing you touched on there when you mentioned about Jameis and all rooting for him. I think one of the things with Jameis is he embraced the city, and the city embraced him back. And just coming back to our point about New Orleans, if you show it love, as Drew said to Zion, it will love you back. And that's even though he's not a starting quarterback, they treat him like he is.
Absolutely right.
Well, look at CD, man. Like, we were all cool. Like, we thought he was mishandled. We thought, like, even though kind of knew he was never going to get a deal and extended, he's that type of guy. And we were all fine until he talked shit. And then we're like, no, fuck you. That's just how
it was. Yeah,
it was.
But it was talking shit about the city. It was like he was talking his shit, and that's because he was talking his shit when he was in the city, and we loved him. Then he was talking his shit when he wasn't in the city, and we loved him. But then he talked shit about the city, and it was like, you need
go
to
and sit in the corner with Eli Apple.
Yeah,
Think about what you've done, young man.
It's when he came for
Brian Clough just appeared on the pod.
I was going to say it was when he came for Marshawn, and even though he's left Marcus Williams, you're like, oh, fuck off, mate. Don't tell me you were the best defensive back in that room when our safety is the best free safety in the league. You just never got the credit for it. And we've got one of the best underrated cornerbacks in the league. Go and sit in the corner and have a word with yourself, mate.
Yeah, man. Like,
he's going to bounce around the league now, I think, because his attitude is, it's me against the world. And someone needs to just sit him down and go, just shut the fuck up. Do a year where you show your talent, which we know you've got, and someone will come for you, and you'll get that big deal.
Yeah,
that sounds like a script for Jerry Maguire.
It is. Show CD the money,
but it literally is, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a great player. Like, he's a very good player, but you know, it's just like this is 2 teams now, and if it's 3 teams, then you know, if you hear hooves outside, chances are it's a horse. It could be a zebra, but it's probably a horse. So
probably is.
Chances are it's you, mate.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Right, I think we're probably at the point, aren't we, where we have to shut it down, mate?
Nearly. I've got
Yeah,
one. I've got
All right.
one more question.
Right.
I would like to know whether Di would rather watch ThaiHarley not return punts and kickoffs, or watch first round draft pick Peyton Turner be a healthy scratch on the sideline
And smile.
and smile. So, bit of context. I sat next to Di at the Vikings game, as I mentioned last week's episode, when he knocked my pint out of my hand all over poor Gaz in the seat in front. But anyway, we'll leave that as it is. But
Sorry, Gaz.
I've never seen a man.
Sorry, Gaz.
Never seen a man so fucking heated in my life at someone refusing to return kicks.
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna climb over people and get down onto that pitch and just throttle him.
Like my issue is that you give it the Billy Big one, right? And I want to be treated as a receiver and everything, like. But you've got a role, mate, and you're good at it.
Do your job.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that is literally your job at the moment, and like there'd be space for him to do it. He didn't do it, so it's my answer by far is the ThaiHarley, because if Peyton Turner's a healthy scratch, it's because Foskey's decent, Granderson's decent, so I do not mind that lovable smile being on the side. I don't care. In fact, I'd be more worried. I'd be more concerned if that dude is starting for us next year, boys. But if I see ThaiHarley anywhere near a fleur-de-lis, I will lose my shit.
Fair enough.
Good.
You got your answer, Dan.
Oh,
Yeah, no.
that's what I was looking
Also,
for. I didn't expect any less.
Can I just a quick one? My question to you last week, which you got it wrong. So the
Dan,
question
you fucked up.
right? You
I was
fight an
paraphrasing.
orangutan once, right? You fight an orangutan once a year with a sword, or a chicken every time. Now the thing is, again, right? The orangutan can kill you. However, the orangutan is also an intelligent animal. Sees you waving a sword, might leg it. You were just so dismissive about, oh yeah, I'm just gonna kill a chicken and take it home and have chicken every day.
Di, in my defense, I didn't know I could have a sword. I thought I was going bare knuckle. I thought he was going bare knuckle.
Mike's getting ready for the fisticuffs.
That weren't happening, mate. I'm a big man, but I'm out of shape.
He's up twatting it on the nose. Like, come on, let's go.
So, Mike, you get a sword. You have a sword. Do you take the orangutan, or you having a chicken every day you go to the car?
I'm with a sword. I'm having the orangutan.
You got to, haven't you? You got to take your chance.
It's not even.
I mean,
if Dan had asked the question properly, we would have resolved this last week. But
what kind of sword? Any sword?
Yeah,
not a pork sword.
I don't want a cutlass. The orangutan will look at a cutlass, and go fucking pirate. Fuck off.
Dan's going to try and fight him off with his pork sword. That ain't going to work.
It's decent.
That would be on a really dodgy website somewhere.
Yeah, this is for the end of the not safe for work.
This is the After Dark version.
Yeah, but it's a decent
far.
sword. It's heavy enough that it's going to hurt said orangutan, but not too heavy that you don't look like a twat and you can't lift it up.
So you don't look like
so
Penny
the sword
Moran.
can do a bit of damage. Yeah, no, exactly. So, but yeah, it's just the logistics of fucking killing the chicken every day.
Sorry, Di. Sorry to interrupt you there. This pod, at no point do we ever talk logistics.
Sorry, mate. That's me.
Just wanted to put that out there.
We'll leave that for other podcasts.
Yeah, just
may or may not have been kicked off of other podcasts.
Yeah. And on that note,
yes, on that bombshell.
So yeah, on that note, I just want to extend a big thanks to Di for coming on. Really couldn't have had a better first guest on the pod. Appreciate your time. We really do appreciate your knowledge of the game, and you always add value, whether it's in our WhatsApp group, which I won't reveal the name of because we've got the E, but we don't want the double E on the podcast. But also in the Discord as well. Always a good crack, and we spent a lot of time being the night watchman on that Discord, the three of us, making sure that there was plenty of messages for the Yanks when they woke up. So appreciate you, Di.
Yeah, Di, thanks, bud. Thank you so much, mate.
No, best of luck with this, boys. I'm looking forward to watching you and listening to you down the road.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys.
Take care.
On that note, we're going to bounce.